I am Kyle Coward. I am a freelance writer who was born and raised in Chicago and originally grew up in the South Shore neighborhood. And right before I was going to high school, when I was 14, we moved to Hyde Park. And ever since then, when I've been here in Chicago, when I've not been in college and grad school, I've been living in Hyde Park. It is a pretty distinct neighborhood. Everyone around from like where I grew up in South Shore and all those surrounding neighborhoods. A lot of people always wanted to come hang out in Hyde Park or go move to Hyde Park back in the day because they just thought Hyde Park was just a really cool place. It looked different from most other places in the South Side. It looked like a small town in New England, and it had the lake, and the lake was nice. It wasn't like any other lakefront area on the South Side. It was pretty chill there, and so you had little shops and you had a movie theater, which you didn't really have in too many other communities. So a lot of people liked Hyde Park. So when I was 14 and we moved here, I got a chance to partake in that and met quite a few people from the neighborhood. And the rap on people in Hyde Park back in the day was that they might have been a little bit soft, the pretty boys, just because Hyde Park was not considered the hood. It was, it was where the university was at. So, it's kind of hard to be hood when you live next to a Nobel Peace Prize winner. I hung out in a lot of stores, like record stores, and got introduced to hip hop, and there was like, graffiti crews and hip hop crews, people who lived in the area back in the day. So that was cool. It was like little hip hop mecca, and I loved it, and still love it to this day. It's always been sort of a quaint, iconoclastic neighborhood, and not throughout the South Side, not just the South Side, but throughout the whole city, because it just, like I said, it just doesn't look like anything else. People there are pretty independent minded. You don't have like the whole Chicago machine just having as much influence there as they might in other places. And then you just have different kinds of people who live there. You got Louis Farrakhan and Obama and all the quote unquote liberals, but then people don't realize that UFC has a with the economics department, it's a lot of Republicans over there. So actually, Hyde Park is even more diverse than what people think. Probably the most integrated community, I think, in the city proper. Funny though, it's changing now. You're having a lot of development being built, and so it's just where we used to hang out, and there used to be like stores like Rainbow's End and like the Thai food restaurant place, Noodles, etc. And you had like record stores like the shops in Harper Court. It's changing, and it's you're having a Hyatt being built in there now, and there's a Five Guys in there now, and I'm not necessarily saying it's good or bad, but it's just it's something when you grow up, you hear those stories about your parents who say, "Oh yeah, I remember when the neighborhood was this and the neighborhood was that," and it's something to just see the neighborhood undergo a change, I guess you could say, a sea change right now to something that's probably going to be more high end or more more different than what it is now. I think a lot of the character of Hyde Park, at least what it was known for, I think a lot of that might be going by the wayside now, just because you are getting in more outside influences into the neighborhood. There's no longer that Hyde Park character, and there's the fear that it's just going to be like a lot of other neighborhoods. And I guess that's my fear, is that it might just lose its independent character. Like I said, I'm not going to bemoan businesses or big businesses coming in, because Hyde Park needs in some pockets some of that business to come in. So I don't have a problem with that. I guess yes, it will be something if the character of the neighborhood, the quaintness, if that does go away, 10, 15 years from now, you will go back and take your kids into the neighborhood and say, yeah, I remember this used to be there and that used to be there, and I know that's going on with a lot of other Chicago neighborhoods, or has occurred. Um, Definitely the neighborhood that I'm undergoing, it is undergoing a change, and um, I guess I'll see where I fit in um, soon enough, if I'm even still in Chicago. This time next year or a couple years. So, um, yeah, I think that's just Hyde Park. In a lot of ways, it's different, but it's also telling of just urban development, not just throughout the city, but the world. It's just that Hyde Park is I think it's just shocking to a lot of people in Hyde Park to just think that the quaintness of their neighborhood now is being disrupted. So, that's yeah, that's my Hyde Park story.